Hello guys! I believe sometime soon we will all listen attentively to the speeches of the Russian Minister Lavrov, Russian dictator Putin and Russian General Gerasimov in the International Criminal Court in The Hague. But right now they use any opportunity to address the global audience with their typical threats. Because honestly, this is the only weapon left. And that is why the Russian General Gerasimov recently called the US General Brown to update him on the Oreshnik missile. And Lavrov, the Minister of the Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation, decided to use the meeting in Malta, the meeting of the OSCE, as the way to manipulate public's opinion and, first of all, to persuade that it is not Russia but all the world, Ukraine and the United States, of course, that attacked it. You clearly see, right? Kremlin on fire. And also to remind about the dangers of escalation. But right now I realize that all of these calls and conversations have one purpose: to frighten you. To frighten you about the potential nuclear attacks or the Third World War, when, in reality, first, it is already happening, second, it's not that dangerous for you as long as Ukraine is fighting. So let's discuss what Gerasimov, Lavrov mean and why it's so important to oppose any doubts and any fears that come after listening of their speeches. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and if you want to see Putin, Lavrov, Gerasimov in The Hague and also protect yourself against evil Russian narratives and hybrid warfare that is happening right now in your countries too, subscribe. We discuss all of that on the channel. So recently we've learned about the call that General Gerasimov made to the General Brown in the United States. It's not something surprising. It was happening like from time to time. Countries, even in complex context, keep updating each other, especially about various drills and other stuff. But what was interesting to read about these statements they discussed: global problems, conflicts, escalations, and not much attention paid to Ukraine. But here I would like to stress your attention. The majority of global conflicts, chaos, problems are Russia-funded, Russia-inspired, and Russia-backed. So if anyone on this planet wants to return to normalcy, it is only possible after the defeat of the Kremlin. But if we take away all of this typical exchange of statements, we clearly understand that Gerasimov called to speak about Oreshnik. Honestly, I believe Putin was dissatisfied with the reaction of the world on his old so-called intercontinental ballistic missile, and they decided to repeat it in the conversation between the generals. So definitely the reason of this call was to keep updating about Russian nuclear potential and other things that definitely remind us about the times of the Cold War. And I know many good people remember that period who watched the videos, but unfortunately many of our politicians have forgotten, and the tendency is to keep appeasing the evil so that it stops, when in reality Georgia, Ukraine, and many other examples on this planet illustrate it does not work like that. Personally, as a Ukrainian, I was very disappointed to see this tremendous fear among many after Ukrainian use of 6 or 8 ATACMS, when no one is frightened of thousands of missiles that Russia targeted on Ukraine during these years. Literally every day, these are thousands of kilos of explosives that they use to destroy our lives, schools, hospitals, and lands. So honestly, that's not good, because when you fear a bully, when you fear a criminal, you lose. And just have a look at Ukrainians. We realize that the only way to return back to normal life is to defeat this evil. It is Russia it is Iran, it is North Korea, it is definitely China, and we are fighting with all of these countries. So we invest our lives, our lands, and we are not asking that much. Please subscribe to demonstrate your solidarity with the people of Ukraine, and also share these videos on your social media platforms. Another speech that we have to analyze was the address of Lavrov on the annual meeting of the OSCE. Honestly, OSCE is another international institution that was ruined by Russia. It's not operating properly. Russia, as a country that has a veto inside OSCE, often blocks lots of decisions. For example, recently it banned the annual OSCE meeting in Estonia, understanding that Estonia clearly knows who the aggressor is. And I think that these recent years of war have shown that Putin undermined not just international agreements, that's why we cannot sign anything with Russia, and also institutions. We may say that the UN is broken, that the OEC is broken, that the Red Cross honestly is broken, and let me know in the comments below what other organizations has Russia broken. When Lavrov was speaking, the representatives of Ukraine, Poland and Czechia went out, and I'm very grateful for their very firm position and understanding that Russia is constantly lying, and Lavrov used it to blame that it was Ukraine and the United States that attacked Russia, and oh my God, they keep repeating these narratives everywhere. And here are some very important facts that I want you to remember. When Russia first invaded Ukraine in 2014, Ukraine was neutral. Ukraine was not a NATO country. Now you clearly see that, unfortunately, NATO is not very ready to accept Ukraine. It was never ready, and it was never a real threat. Once again, very unfortunately for the Ukrainian people. Second, in 2023, Finland entered NATO, and Russia border with NATO doubled. But no, you don't see any reaction from the Russian side, because it was not about Finland, it is just about Ukraine. Also, they keep repeating that Russia is encircled by NATO. Less than 11% of Russia borders with NATO. And another very important thing that Russia often uses in its propaganda, stating there was an agreement about non-expansion of NATO to the east. No, there is no such agreement. Then they start saying it was an oral discussion. Oh my God. Guys, do you remember the signing of the Budapest Memorandum? Today we mark 30 years of this mistake, and no, there was no any kind of memorandum about NATO not expanding, even the one like Budapest. That is why the only thing that can actually stop Russia is NATO, and Ukraine is in NATO. The only reason why Russia opposes Ukraine in NATO is the understanding that after that it cannot take Ukraine. It cannot keep destroying us. It cannot keep killing Ukrainians. That is the only reason why they don't want Ukraine in NATO. They very much know that NATO was not ready, never planned to attack it. And honestly, I believe that every person who repeats that it was the United States, it was aliens, it was NATO, is a traitor to his, her, or their country. Honestly. Because this is clean Russian propaganda, and I don't know why, witnessing all of these destructions, 20,000 Ukrainian children stolen and taken to Russia, destroyed hospitals and schools, killed so many people, invaded so many territories in Ukraine, people are looking for explanations in the Russian narratives. That is crazy. I'm very grateful that you are with me, that we have this strong community and big community. And please use these ideas and share the videos that you consider important. And for a conclusion, I would like to stress that this Russian war against you will not be nuclear. They won't use something they could in the 70s or 80s. They already spoil your life. They already interfere in your political events. using hybrid warfare, as they did with Ukraine. They distort your elections, they ruin your technologies, they use various hacking techniques, they organize, I don't know, problems with immigrants, they kill people on your territories, either their own agents or others. And this kind of war is already happening. This third world war